I love buying antique furniture. I love buying old furniture. And if it needs some love, I am good at that. I am good with
Yeah.
carpentry work because I taught myself. I am good at doing upholstery work because I taught myself. And so, I have that appreciation for it and the appreciation of possibility. I love it. I love it so much. I love to be given this raw material and to have an idea, a vision in my brain, and then to make something with it.
Welcome back to Power and Purpose Within. I'm Kori Burgess, and in each show, we celebrate creators, founders, authors, and people who genuinely enjoy their career. Can you imagine genuinely enjoying your career? They choose the most exclusive careers you're going to find, and some may look unconventional to you, just a little like, I can't believe they can have a career like that. That's what I love bringing to you, the insights of being unique and being unconventional. And that's the beauty and celebration for these people. Their journey could be your incentive to begin your journey. So before we get started, I'd like you to give us a thumbs up if you like the show and subscribe to the channel. And if you want to stay updated on everything we're doing on this channel, make sure to ring that notification bell. Okay. All right, let's get started. Today we celebrate Kira Hartley Klinger. And Kira is our guest today. And what her unique, unconventional business is. She's a creator. She's created a vintage fabric and antique textile shop on Etsy, and we're going to talk about that. And she's also an author. She's an author of two books, Fabric Wars and Fabric Wars and More. So for all of you out there who love fabric and love making things and creating, welcome to the show, Kiara, because you got an audience in front of you. Welcome.
Outstanding. Thank you so much for having me.
Of course, of course. I want people to know I'm on your Etsy site. And if you could tell them, because some of us are listening, some of the people are not watching, if you could tell us how to reach your Etsy site, what's it called? And I have it pulled up, but I want to hear it from you.
Okay, so the site is called Dodd Oddity, and think of Dodd as in dad, but with an O, and then oddity, just like it sounds, Dodd Oddity. Yeah, it's named after my grandfather. My grandfather was a master of many things. He liked to recreate things from old things that didn't make a whole lot of sense to some people, but it made sense to him. Yeah, so when I got into the textile business, everything was fair game. Any kind of old textile that could be taken apart and made something new, I was game. Anything to not put it in a landfill. So yeah, it just transferred to the name of my shop.
I love that. And I love what you said, anything to not put it into a landfill.
Mhm.
That's that's smart. Yeah. Because you can recreate. And the beauty in recreating is you took something and you made it yours personally.
Yes.
And like your grandfather, most people wouldn't understand, but he knew.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Making something new
So
from something old. And he was very proud of the things that he would make.
So tell me, how did you start in this business? What was your incentive and what was your did you see something missing, or were you always a creator of in fabric?
I have always been a creator of something, anything. I'm the type of person that I'm not very good at reading instructions on how to do something or make something, but if you show me a picture, I can make it or build it. So
Mm.
I've always been creative. I've always been writing for as long as I can remember. I ended up coming into fabric by accident. I became the divorced single mom at 40. I had no college education. I had no job training because I was mostly a stay-at-home mom. I'm like, "What am I gonna do? I have one more kid, has 4 years to go before she's off to college. What am I gonna do?" So at the time, eBay was something that was new, and this whole buying and selling thing, it was a hobby before I got divorced. It was fun to see if I could make money off on things, it was fun to go out with friends to find things that we could buy to use in our own homes to repurpose. So, it started out as a hobby. But then when I got divorced, it was one thing that I felt like I knew something about a little bit.
Mhm.
Maybe I had a chance. So, yeah, I started full time. Well, not full time yet. I still had a part time job. I didn't go full time until several years later. But at some point, one of the things that I came across that nobody else wanted that would sell cheap, because cheap was my wheelhouse, that's what I could afford,
Hmm.
were boxes of fabric in the backyard of a woman that once upon a time used to be a quilter. She passed away, left behind her fabric, and it was something that nobody else wanted, and I started to buy it, and to
Hold
be
on.
honest,
You gotta break that one down. That's cool. Did you know the woman already?
no. I go to estate sales, I go to auctions.
Okay, so you went to this state sale or estate sale or auction and you found this in this woman's home and you said, I could do something with this.
That was the hope. I think my mindset at the time was I can pick this up for a couple bucks a box. Is it worth anything? And so I bought a bunch of it. And to be quite honest with you, I did not know that much about fabric. I mean, I could sew to get by. I can do better now. I could always do upholstery work. I was always quite good at that.
Mm.
I can hand sew a quilt. I could not make one on a sewing machine to save my life. I can run power tools, but I can't run a sewing machine. Go figure. I understood fabric. I liked fabric. I liked the concept of being able to make things with it. But as
Mhm.
far as fabric content or as far as era or decade or any of that, I knew nothing. But it was
Mm.
something that I was willing to try to learn. And so I took it home and yeah, I did a lot of research. I looked at a lot of what other people were selling on the internet and I started to piece together this plan. And it was a lot of trial and error and learning along the way. I learned about burn testing. I learned about dating fabric. I learned about identifying errors. I learned about popular colors of errors. I learned about popular patterns of errors. All these little tidbits that put together this puzzle about fabric because fabric doesn't tell its secrets. They don't it
Yeah.
doesn't it's stamped on it, "Hey, I was made in 1930." It doesn't tell you that.
Right.
So
Right.
there's all these clues that you have to learn to identify in order to get a ballpark year or decade of when this fabric was made. So I started to get better and better at it. I started to get more and more customers that would come to the shop. A lot of my customers were overseas. They were in Japan, they were in Australia, and I would hear a resounding comment that we can't find fabric here like this.
Hold on. Hold on. How did you, through eBay, you got your customers?
Yep.
So
Yep.
you had international business before, more international business than you had national business. That's,
It was about 50-50 at the time. I had a tremendous amount of people in Japan that was buying fabric
yeah.
from me. And it's not, I mean, to be quite honest, we don't find fabric like that today here.
No,
Fabric
I know.
from 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s. It started to go
Mhm.
downhill right around the 1990s. So
Mhm.
we don't find it here either anymore. So they were
Yeah.
thrilled to find it. So
Mhm.
what happened, my shop started to become a little bit confusing for repeat customers. I kind of went on this mission where all of a sudden I wanted to buy more fabric. I wanted a whole shop full of fabric. I wanted to have this huge selection where people could come and fill a cart, where they
Yeah.
could create an entire project based on what was in my shop. So I was on
Mhm.
this mission to do that and seeking out auctions that sold estate collections of fabric, but it got to the point where it was kinda confusing to go to my everything eBay shop and try to find the fabric in it. It's like, "Where's Waldo of fabric?"
Mm.
So it's like, "Okay, well, now it's time." So I took all of my fabric and I moved it to Etsy. And it took about 8 years after starting my business in eBay to where I opened another shop on Etsy. I still have both, but Etsy is very specific now. And I have a very specific fabric community now.
A couple of things I hear in that I have questions on. Number one is, okay, wow, let's focus in on the fact that you were a stay-at-home mother, which bravo. I love that. I was a stay-at-home mom too. I wouldn't trade it for the world, me personally, because you're so close to your children, you know so much about them, and you had this blessed opportunity that most don't. In saying that, how did you take yourself from that mode and say, okay, now I have to provide? Where did you get that mindset from? Were you always one of those just move on, or did you have to go through, okay, let me discover who I am, or did you know who? I mean, how did you get to this point where, well, I have a fabric shop. I mean, I have an online this. It doesn't even matter how long the journey is, but how did you take your course from that to emerging into this world that you were foreign of, except out of eBay doing fun things with your friends?
A lot of it has to do with mindset. I've always been a strong person. I've always been a determined person. I was fortunate that I was raised in a household that taught self-confidence. I did not express that very well during my marriage. It wasn't a good place for me. I don't think I ever lost it though, because when I got out of the marriage, I took off. There were lots of hurdles. It wasn't that I didn't spend many, 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 many years in debt because I did. It wasn't that I didn't have days down on my knees where all I could say was help me. It was all of that. But I had this one core value that I set out to raise my 3 children with me being present as much as humanly possible, and that core value was something that I refused to negotiate, but then I had to be willing to pivot everywhere else. And so that's what I did. I started with what I had. I pivoted every step of the way, every different direction it took me in. Okay, I'll try that. Okay, I'll try that too. Okay. And I just kept pivoting. And yeah, one successful shop turned into 2 successful shops. In the last 18 years between the 2, I've had roughly 58,000 sales.
That's encouraging for our listeners and our people who are viewing, our viewers, because you got to know that just because you're in wherever part of your life you're in, if it's not serving you the way you thought it should, doesn't mean that you're stuck. It means that now you have you might feel like you're stuck, but you have an opportunity. There's always an opportunity as long as your brain, keeps you avail, keeps you able to see an opportunity or allows you to think in that realm. You knew I'll just pivot. Okay, this isn't working. Okay, I'll go here. I'll go here. And there's no give up, never, never, never give up because the opportunity is always there. As long as you have breath within your lungs, you have opportunity. It's just a matter
Yeah.
of getting out there and finding it and not feeling, or even if you feel stuck, move anyway. Don't be stuck. You might feel stuck, but don't be stuck. Kira, you're a great example of not staying one pivot and just saying, well, I'm here. This is it. This is what I have to do. That's
No,
beautiful.
you need to take another step every day,
Yeah.
another step.
As we talked earlier, I love fabric. I went to school and studied fabrics, the whiffs and the wefts and the, and all the per inch, everything. I just love fabric. So did you grow up? Because there were fabric stores. I mean, there was a time where I would sit in fabric stores with my mother half the day. Did you go to fabric stores when you were a kid or anything?
No, my mother did not sew.
Okay. All right.
My mother did not sew. My earliest recollection of sewing when we were growing up, my mother was always a believer of do it yourself. She still is.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
if we had a gift that we wanted to present to somebody, but we did not have any money, she would say, make them something. And I hated that. I hated that so much because, I knew other people that were given money by their parents to buy a gift for this person. And my gifts always felt so inferior, you know? So one of the earliest things that I remember making for my cousins, I made these snakes. I found fabric in the house and I took empty pill bottles and put beans in them for the rattler on the snake. And I made snakes for crying out loud. I was a kid. And it was mortifying. I got these store-bought gifts as my gift at Christmas time from these cousins. But, so anyway.
As an adult, I would take a homemade gift, a handmade gift over a store bought because it means you took time. If you were giving those gifts to adults and not to your peers, I bet you the adults would be like, this is fantastic. How creative. I can't, because it is. It's a part of your soul. It's a part of your work. It's a part of your genius, your imagination into a gift to hand to them. It's a part of you. That's beautiful. Yeah.
But I didn't think so at the time, but, and then as I got older, I'm a big repurposer. I love buying antique furniture. I love buying old furniture, and if it needs some love, I am good at that. I am good with
Yeah.
carpentry work because I taught myself. I am good at doing upholstery work because I taught myself. And so, I have that appreciation for it and the appreciation of possibility. And so I think
Now,
back.
how did you teach yourself? Did you say, well, it needs to be fixed and I'm just going to fix it? Or did you literally say, I'm curious. I want to learn how to do this?
When it came to upholstery, I have to give my mother some props because my mother does know how to do upholstery. When I wanted to do my first piece, she gave me one piece of advice. She said, take it apart in order of the last piece that was put on there, being careful. Don't cut it, just take it apart. and then you just go in reverse and you put
Right.
the last piece, the first piece on whatever. You go in
Right.
order and just put it right back together. And that was the only thing she ever told me, but she drew a picture in my brain that made sense. And
Right.
I still do upholstery that way, to this day. Yeah, it just made sense. And as far as the carpentry goes, I did remarry when I was 45, and we bought an old farmhouse that we've been renovating for the last 10, 12 years. I've always
Mm.
been really good at painting, okay? I've learned how to do drywall. I get to be the drywaller. Yay, lucky me. It's the least favorite job of anything I do. Wood also fascinated me. I like to be able to work with it. And my husband showed me one day how to use a miter saw. Showed me one time. And now I do all the carpentry work in our house. I have built benches around our fire pit outside. I have built flower boxes. If you show me a picture, I'm like, yeah, I can build that. It's just, yeah, I've built all the shutters for our house. I mean, it's just, I love it. I love it so much. I love to be given this raw material and to have an idea, a vision in my brain, and then to make something with it.
That's beautiful. That's your genius. We all have genius in us. That's your genius because it's something nobody taught you. It's innate. It's in you.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah. Yeah. That's like my husband, he sews, and the way he started
Oh,
sewing, his mother sewed all their clothes, 6 kids. And
wow.
one day, do you remember What's Happening? JJ Walker,
I
TV show
sure
What's
do.
Happening? Okay. So back in that era, they wore these hats, these derby hats. I guess they're like derby hats. And he said to his mom for Easter, she was making their clothes, and he said, "I want a hat." And she said, "I have 6 kids, make it yourself." And he goes, "How do I make a hat?" And so she said, "Well," and she took apart a hat and showed him how to make a pattern. So, like what you just said, she made a pattern. She goes, "There, now make the hat." And he learned how to make a hat. And I don't know how old he was. I honestly don't know if he was a teenager yet, but he ended up loving sewing. And he made his tuxedo for prom, and he made the foreign exchange student an outfit for her to go home in. And he was in the paper like, and then we met in fashion school. So he would make my clothes. He and my mother would make clothes for me when I first started working.
Oh, man. I love that story so much. My husband is all thumbs. He's the electrician in the house. He's the demolition guy. I don't know if you're familiar with kids animated movies, but he's my Wreck-It Ralph, and I love him to pieces, but he is my Wreck-It Ralph. So no, to picture him sewing.
Yeah, now my husband's not gonna build something. He's not gonna build a china cabinet or anything. I mean, he did one time in high school, but he's like, that's not I can't do that." And he probably wouldn't sew anymore either, but, when you know you can, it's beautiful to know you can,
Yes.
I'm looking at your some of your insights, and I want to ask you a little bit about what lessons or insights you've learned along the way in your business. I see here. I appreciate the opportunity to promote my business and books. I'm finding great value in speaking with other women.
And that is something that I just started to learn about myself since I started to get into podcasting. I started getting into podcasting. I got invited to my first show about 6 weeks after my first book came out, and that was in, oh gosh, 3 years ago, I guess. And she had said, "If you put another book out there, look me up, we'll do this again." When the second book came out, I looked her up and we did it again, and that's when I started to think, maybe there's something here. And at the time, I still had my brain set a little bit on I'm growing, I'm growing, I'm growing, and this is a great way to get out there, to promote, to market, to whatever. But then when I got into the podcasting community and I started to see all the different layers of me that could potentially help other people that were in my position or are in my position, then it became a different kind of mission. Then it became like
Mhm.
it's like a cheerleading squad, especially
Mhm.
for people that are over 40 and that are starting over and that maybe don't have any experience. Like I didn't have any experience. I didn't have this resource 18 years ago, and maybe I did and maybe I didn't know it. But to be able to be that person for somebody else and to share a success story, a hard-earned success story that wasn't like roses beginning to end. There's empowerment in that, and there is a gratitude in that, and there is a paying it forward and leaving a little bit of a legacy for people. You got
Mhm.
this. You can do this too. So it just put a different spin, but being 58 this year, every new year puts a different spin on things too, because it's like, okay, I'm getting older. This is just a business. And what am I going to leave for the next person?
Yeah, it's beautiful how you say it's everything isn't roses. And no one has the roses journey. They just won't, some just don't feel comfortable sharing, or they just don't think it's important to share. But the more you're on the podcast, you're realizing I have more depth in me that I can give out to the world, because there are women in need to hear this. There are men in need to hear that a woman did this, because it could be their daughter that's going through this, or it could be their sister or their mother. Everyone needs to hear it. It's not just a, well, this is only women only, because everyone needs to hear the story of the journey. And as much as each person can share, but the story of the journey to the realization of, if you continue, you can't, there's only lessons learned. It's not failure, it's lessons learned, because you're always progressing to the next and the next.
I
And
like that.
the accomplishments that you've made, being debt free, that's huge in our society today. And not even having the hunger or the desire to have all this stuff, because again, you're like, I'm 58. Why would I want to do that to myself now? You're at a place of peace and comfort. That's what people really want, is peace and comfort. They get so bogged down with all the stuff they see out there that tells them they're not comfortable.
And the ability to call my own shots from here on
Mhm.
out, to dictate my last chapter on my terms. It's everything. It's absolutely everything. I never really cared about being rich. I cared about being able to pay my bills though for a really,
You
really long time, like 40 years. Buried in debt all the time, not being able to pay a bill when it was due and trying to get it paid before the next bill was due, so I didn't get a mark on my credit. I mean, I could play the system to a T. I knew
Mhm.
places that I could write checks to and get cash over on my check, so I had some money in my pocket and that it wouldn't clear the bank account, until I got more money in there. You can't
Mhm.
do that anymore. Nowadays, everything's electronic. But once upon a time, my sister-in-law and I, we called it the check game, and we had it down to a science. I was always, always broke.
If, as you're listening, you realize you want more structure and support around this kind of inner work, I want to share something with you. I've created a 30-day personal growth challenge designed to help you slow down, reflect, and reconnect with yourself, one simple day at a time. It's not about perfection and it's not about pressure. It's about awareness and alignment and gentle consistency. If that feels supportive for where you're at right now, you'll find all the details linked in the episode description.
What's beautiful, Kira, is that you're sharing this, because there are people out there that are listening going, oh my gosh, me too. That's a Me Too movement also, in itself. And that's a big one, because there's so many people who are in debt or struggling to figure out, is this normal? Is it just normal? Is it normal just to have so much debt that you put things on a credit card? Or is that supposed to be what life is about? No. The freedom, when you have financial freedom, it takes years off your health. It's
Yes.
years off of, meaning bad health. It gives you more years on your health. How's that? Yeah. Just your health alone, let alone your mindset. That's beautiful.
No, just say you're right. When I was in debt, that was the last thing I thought of when I closed my eyes and the first thing I thought of when I opened them again. And
Mm.
when that burden is no longer there, it's like, wow. So it's a
Now,
gift.
I didn't have here, what joy do you find? I value my solitude. Let's talk about that. And you're a gardener. You like flower gardens, huh?
Oh, I love my flower gardens.
Yeah.
Uh, we've got a
So
5-acre hobby farm, and I recently discovered I love chickens too. I didn't know I would ever love chickens, but I do.
you have
Um,
chickens. How many chickens do you have?
gosh,
Because they
currently,
multiply.
well, but not quite like you think because we collect eggs. So I think that we have 6 ducks right now, and I think we have, oh my, 13 or 14 chickens. I lost a few this winter. But it is chick season at Tractor Supply, and let me tell you what it is like to walk in and out of Tractor Supply and not bring home more baby chicks that lay a different color egg than I don't currently have, because that's the name of the game, is how many different color eggs can I get in my flock. So I'm
Mhm.
congratulating myself every week that I come home without more chickens. So I'm just gonna put that out there. But yes, I love
Okay.
my flower gardens.
Do you have
Sorry?
blue eggs? Do you have blue eggs?
Yeah. I have blue, I have green, I have white, I have cream, I have like a beige colored. The green ones
Yeah.
right now are currently my favorite. But there are chickens out there that lay like a really dark, dark red and dark black and plum. There are all these dark colored eggs
So
now.
how did you, how did you, I'm interested in that. So how did you discover, did you just do a deep dive into chickens to find out? Or once you buy one chicken, you're done? I mean, because you can't just buy one, right? You have to buy at least two at one time, right?
See, when you buy them at places like Tractor Supply, it used to be you had to buy 6 because that discouraged people from wanting to give baby chicks as gifts to children on Easter, because it's not a practical thing to give to a child. They have relaxed that now, and now it's 4. You have to buy 4. If you order them online, which they do ship live baby chicks through the mail, they ship them the day that they are born. Baby chicks can survive up to 3 days with no food and water in transit on a truck coming from Texas to Ohio. I still can't believe it myself. So you
That's
still
so
have to
scary though. Those poor chicks, aren't they scared?
they will not ship just one. You have to buy in quantities so that they keep each other warm and whatnot. But that is not to say that some chicks do not perish in transit. And it's interesting because the post office will contact you and say, yes, your chicks are here. But it seems like all the chicks arrive on the same day, not just for you, but for every other farmer here in rural Ohio. So you go into the back room and everything's cheep, 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 cheep. But then you catch the smell and you know that one chicken somewhere in somebody's box did not survive. And you
Oh,
just hope that it really wasn't yours. But yeah, the
oh.
world of chickens it's a strange thing. It was my husband that first brought up chickens. He eats eggs. I do not. I do not like eggs. I have never liked eggs. I never thought chickens were necessarily cute. I did not know what the allure was, but he had
Yeah.
these certain things on his retirement bucket list. He said he was going to grow his own garden, a vegetable garden, which is hysterical because he eats cucumbers, a carrot once in a while, and tomatoes he really doesn't care for. He hates vegetables. So I'm like, what are you doing? But still, these are his retirement goals. He's going to grow a vegetable garden, and he is going to have chickens. So we share 8 grandchildren. Okay. We have this great farm, all these animals, like I told you, I have horses that came that they were part of the marriage arrangement. Um, so we have animals. We have this huge pond up back. The kids can catch a fish without a worm. We have a pontoon boat in the middle of the pond with a water slide. We have kayaks. We have go-karts. Every year we seem to get more and more and more and more and more. We have a transit bus that we bought one year and I painted it like the Scooby-Doo bus. It's turquoise and lime green and has big, big orange flowers. It has 3-inch long shag fake turquoise fur that hangs from the ceiling inside. And when you put on the air conditioner overhead, it flows like a river, and anyway, it's a lot of fun. So we have camp for the 8 grandkids for a week every year on the farm, and we try to do enriching projects. We do recycling projects. You name it, we do it. So
Yeah.
one year I'm like, hey, let's hatch chickens for camp this year. Won't that be fun? So I found a breeder not too far away, like an hour away. And 2 weeks before camp, I go and I buy 20 eggs and set up an incubator so that they're set to hatch during camp week. 8 grandkids, 20 eggs, everybody will have their own chicken. Perfect. It's going to work out. I know I'm going to get at least 8 hatches. We got 7. So I know, right?
Oh.
But
How wait,
each
how old are the grandchildren? Is there an older one that can say it's okay?
time, I mean, this was like 3 years ago. So the oldest
Yeah.
one at the time, she was 10 and she was not stepping aside for anybody.
Yeah.
Far as she was concerned, the 2-year-old could go without a chicken. They didn't care about chickens anyway. But she got the first chicken because she was the oldest camper. And so watching them watch these chickens hatch, it was just incredible,
Yeah.
and I taught them about how birds imprint, all right? So they had this deal while they could watch the progress of these chickens hatching when it was close, when we knew that that chicken was going to emerge, whoever's chicken it was got a front row center seat in front of that incubator, and every other grandchild had to bow out and leave the room because that chicken's going to imprint on me. That's my chicken. Early
Wait,
on,
wait, so they really do that? They imprint on you, the chickens?
yes.
They know you're theirs.
They're supposed to. Now, had they lived their whole life with the grandchildren around all the time, then
Mhm.
it might be different, but they only see them a couple times a year. So I think that's how the whole chicken thing started. And I mentioned we were
That's
one chicken short, so I had to order another baby chicken. You can't order one, so another 6 came along.
that's why you have so many
And
chickens now.
yeah, we have so many chickens. But then I got on this thing where I wanted all the different color eggs. And
Mhm.
this is gonna sound even stranger, but chicken therapy is real. Now, my husband is a big, burly Harley Davidson dude, and I have caught him out in the chicken coop sitting on a milk crate and holding a chicken and having this chicken therapy time. It's real. I don't know what it is, but having they
Oh,
purr like cats. So having this chicken in your lap that's, like, cooing to you and you're petting them
yeah.
and anyway.
I watch R&R homesteaders on YouTube, and this
Okay.
guy he's a big burly guy, and he I'll have to send you his link because he's hilarious, and he talks about, "Do you want chickens, honey?" "Yes, we get her chickens." And he goes, "And you can't just have one because I need my chicken too." Now, he talks about how many chickens and you gotta have a rooster. Then he talks about how he had the hawks coming and how, he put down so he's got the crows now, so he's collecting for the crows because he goes, "I didn't realize crows could get rid of they fight against each." He's hilarious. So I'm like, "Okay, chickens. Okay." And my cousin has chickens. But her husband takes care of everything. She goes, "I don't know. I see the chickens." So and he has a vegetable garden even though he doesn't eat vegetables.
My husband is not alone. Wreck-It Ralph is not alone. He does not have it yet because I have so many flower gardens. I'm like flowers with chickens. I have to have every single color of iris. I have a black iris. It is probably to date my most favorite flower that I have. I have a black iris, but I want all the colors of peonies. I just want it all. I'm not the person that only decorates in red and white flowers. I want all the colors. And so I keep finding more that I don't have, which means I have to cut out a new garden. So
Hmm.
I have told him, if you would like a vegetable garden, have at it, but I'm not taking care of it. I can't take care of the ones I have.
But okay, so for our listeners, I know you can hear the joy in her voice. And for our viewers, look at the difference in when she's talking about her lifestyle now, the freedom. When she just said, before, I mean, I was in debt and every morning I woke up with it and I went to bed with it and, I was stuck. And just look at her bloom as she's talking. You are the flower that's blooming in front of us with the joy of your lifestyle. And you created that. So for those people out there who are listening or watching and saying, "Yeah, but how do you get it?" You create it. You decide what you want in life and you create it. This is a creator in front of us. Now, we're going to talk about her being an author also, but I love the creation that she has formed in her she built her cocoon. She built her cocoon. We're responsible for building our cocoon. Nobody else can do that because they don't know what we need in it. And Kira, you knew what you discovered what you needed and what you liked. Did you know you liked flowers before and you said one day I'll have a flower garden, or did that grow into the lifestyle that you created?
It pretty much grew into it. I always appreciated flowers. I always liked flowers. It was another thing that I knew nothing about. And the very first house that I had in my 20s, it was constantly having work done to it that prevented me from planting and growing flowers. I always wanted them, but we were either painting the house or we were putting in a new basement or we were doing this or we were doing that. It was something that never happened. And so with each consecutive house, because I moved a lot, I would dabble and I would try and I would plant things. And I killed so many. It's not even funny. I killed so many flowers. But it was a learning thing. Everything is a learning thing. It was something that I desired. And so something that I needed to figure out. If I if I wanted it in my life, I had to figure it out, and I still kill things. I mean, I'm much better. I know a lot more about flowers than I did. I can also tell you pretty reliably when the dahlia tubers are gonna hit the stores for planting in the spring, and, when the gladiola bulbs are gonna be out there. Yeah, I know when the irises are gonna come in. I am stalking my favorite stores. It's like, "Oh gosh, is it spring already?" Because I know by the time it gets warm enough to plant, I'm gonna have bags and bags and bags. I planted 444 spring bulbs last spring, and I do it every year because I can't stop, because I see tulips in colors that I don't have or daffodils.
You have acres of flower beds or flower.
I have
I mean,
I have 5 acres and we have probably 50 trees, and there's probably some sort of flower growing under most of the trees, at least 10 of I I have a garden here that started it all because the farmer that owned this place before us, she grew flowers. And then the garden went into a years of neglect, but there were still irises that wanted to come up every year. And there were still,
Mhm.
there were still things growing in it every year.
Sure.
And I would look
Yeah.
at it and there was full of thistle and weeds. I'm like, I don't know what any of this is. Somebody help me.
Yeah.
Somebody tell me. And it took me 3 years to sort out everything that was in that garden. And of course, I've added to it, but that affectionately became called God's garden. Number 1, there seemed to be a
Mhm.
lot of pears in there, like Noah's Ark. And number 2, it was
Mhm.
by the grace of God that I did not mow
Mhm.
that thing down and start over.
Yeah, because how did you go to online to learn, or did you take a course, or how did you know what to
By watching what bloomed every year. Like I
you
said,
just let it grow? You're like, "Okay, let it come out and see what happens."
and see what it is. And then I could say, oh, well, that is very clearly a weed and be done with it. And then, every year I'd have to refresh it and start over again, but I would start to remember where things were. And I would start to add new things to it and remember where that
Mhm.
was and what you can leave the little stakes in the ground showing you what it
Yeah.
is and where it
Mhm.
is and what's in it there. So it's, I learned. I learned.
Wow. I love that. I love that. I'm a new gardener. I have the elevated beds in our yard because we have a rock yard. Like it's a yin yang yard, so it's all stones
Mhm.
and black and white. So put elevated beds and I grow vegetables. That's why I was laughing at your husband. And I don't like a lot of vegetables, but the vegetables I like to grow because they taste phenomenally different than they do in the store. And then I have a whole front yard that's all land. There's no grass. It's all garden. The whole front yard is a garden. I teach my clients, when you wake up in the morning, go barefoot. And if you're in the city, just go on a patio or go somewhere that's outside and just stand barefoot. And if you're not and you have a yard or a garden, go barefoot. Rarely do I wear shoes outside because it just feels so good. It
Yeah.
just it's how we're meant to be. It's just
It is
feels like
how I meant.
this is right. Yeah. Getting your hands dirty, I stopped doing the gel manicures. I'm like, nope, I just want my fingers in the ground, you know? And then I just pull out the dirt and I scrub my fingers and I'm fine. But yeah.
Well, I gotta keep mine short between the gardening
Yeah.
and the carpentry and everything
Yeah.
else. Mine are
Yeah.
all the way
I like
down.
my short nails actually. Yeah. When I see long nails, I'm like, I don't remember how I did that. But yeah, it just feels like you can do more.
Yeah.
Okay, I see here in general, what helped you shift your mindset? A lot of prayer, the support of family and friends, and the man I married 13 years ago. I love that, who became my biggest cheerleader. Let's talk about the prayer, the support, your man. What did that look like through your process? Did your family, was your family aware outside of your children of your growth? I mean, were they there to watch your growth?
Every
Mm.
painful step of the way. They were there even before then. They were there when I was trying my hand at writing in my 20s and 30s. They were always there in my ear. You can do this. You got this. I have one sister and I have my parents and we have a really tight, close, supportive unit. And
Yeah.
it's everything. I think at some point in people's journey, like this journey that I've been on, it just becomes very clear and very important to keep the right people in your circle
Mhm.
and to let the other ones fall behind. There are going to be people that doubt you. There are going to be people that have negative things to think about, to say in this journey and what you're doing and what you're
Mhm.
thinking, or that it's a crazy idea, or that people, non believers.
Mhm.
And people don't have to believe in your journey to be supportive of your journey. And I think that's
Mhm.
where the difference lies, you know? So yeah, my family, they've been everything. My sister, probably my single biggest cheerleader my entire life. Even when she knew I was married to the wrong man, she still found something positive to say to me and something to
Mhm.
believe in me for. I have a core circle of 5 or 6 friends
Mhm.
that, again, they were the right people to keep in my circle. I have lots and lots of friends and lots of acquaintance, but I have just a
Mhm.
select number of people that have been on this journey with me and that I wouldn't have traded for the world. My faith is huge.
Mhm.
There have been some things that have happened in the church over the years that sadly I had to step away from the physical building of
Mhm.
religion and my faith, but my faith is still there. It's always been there. And yes, there have been many days.
Because your faith is not the church. Your faith is your walk with the Lord, not the church. Yeah. You know, it's interesting. You were saying that you had the support and the people who were negative. And the sad part for some of you watching and listening is the people that you love the most, they might be negative because they're in fear for you instead of in faith and joy for you. They're in fear. Yeah. And a lot of times you might hear from the people that you think are going to be your biggest support cheerleader, and they're speaking their fear over you. So make sure when you are, keep yourself open to listening to those who are truly encouraging you to grow, because that's the hardest thing for us to do, is to grow. Growing is not easy, but the benefits on the other side are like, wow. I mean, you're listening to a benefit right here. She is a benefit. You're a benefit to the audience, Kira. You're you you are. And the proof of that is your joy and your excitement for life. So many are still searching for that. And the other thing I would say is, as you get older, your friend circle becomes less. We used to tell our daughters, we have two girls, and we would tell them, or two ladies, and we would tell them, you know, you don't have to hold a whole lot of friends. People who have a whole lot of friends, they don't have friends. Friends, you're going to have acquaintances, but that friend circle is, if it's a pure friend circle, it's probably going to be a handful of people. And that's beautiful because everybody doesn't care about your business. They might say they do, but they don't. They don't care about your struggles.
I
Have
find myself
fun.
apologizing to my friends sometimes saying, I know you have heard this 1,000 times, but I'm having a really bad day. Will you just listen to me one more time? One of them is my oldest friends. I've known her since we were 11. The one that I talk to every day, we've been friends for 28 years, I guess. And then I have friends that I've
Mm,
only known for a decade, but I know the people that are in my corner and that have me spiritually and that have me emotionally and that just have me with their hearts. And I really hope that they feel that I have their back too.
mhm.
I like to feel like it's all about me sometimes, but I don't ever want anybody else to feel like I feel like it's all about me. My husband will tell you it's always all about me. You know, he's allowed me to grow the most because he believed in me. He let me spread my wings. He was okay with it. He was okay
Mhm.
with me being in this position of being more in a spotlight than he was. He's okay with all of it. In
Yeah.
my book, everybody has a code name. And in my book, he's helper because that's what he is.
Mhm.
He has been my helper throughout this whole thing.
Now let's talk about your book. Let's talk about your book because you have two, Fabric Wars and Fabric Wars and More. What's the difference? Tell us what Fabric Wars is about.
Fabric Wars started because writers need to write. It's there. It never goes away. And so even though there was this
Mhm.
period of time where I could not pursue writing as a career, I could still write narratives with my listings. I could still talk about who owned the fabric before I bought it. I could talk about the auctioneer who knew nothing about fabric. I could talk about the competition who, we were in a boxing match over this lot of fabric. I could talk about everything that happened on this journey of mine, and I could write it on my Etsy pages where people, they kinda cared the history. They kinda liked knowing who had it first. They kinda, they were enjoying learning these things. And so and now this was some time into it because I didn't open my Etsy shop right away. It took about 8 years before I opened Etsy. And after a few years of really growing this customer base, they started to write to me and say, "These stories are great. You really need to write a book."
Mm,
And so it was this huge full circle moment. It goes back to that thing that I said about having your core principle in place. I knew the one
mhm,
thing I would not gravitate from. This I was sticking to this. I was raising my kids the best that I could by myself. Everything else had to be pivotal. It had to be something I could be flexible on. And so the writing I had to give up, but I never really did give it up. It was still there. I just didn't know that it was still there. And so
right.
before long, I'm a writer. I'm a shop owner. I'm a writer. And then the next thing I know, I'm taking my book on the road. I'm taking it to the people, to quilting guilds, people that also like to hear about these stories. And they're buying my books, you know? And next thing I know, I've got a TV producer that's believing in my story. And, she signs me up for a possible reality TV show because she thinks, wow, this life of yours is so cool. And I'm like, it is?
Yeah.
Really? So it's like, yes, the books are about fabric, hence the Fabric Wars. Fabric Wars and More is just a continuation. I see a trilogy. I want that boxed trilogy on my shelf. So there's one more
Mhm.
coming. It is on my computer. But yeah, it's not just about fabric though, because it's about me. It's about my journey. It's almost like a diary. It's almost like a journal. It
Mhm.
talks about how I got to where I am today. It talks about things that I bought along the way, things that were good finds, things that were bad finds. It talks about the people that I've met, the good, the bad, the ugly, the funny, the inspirational. It's just a big long journey. It's 350 pages in each book that is just about this journey. And yes, it became the story of Fabric Wars because it was the fabric people that asked me to write it
So you're a storyteller.
all day long. As if you couldn't tell,
Wow.
we're here an hour.
It's
And I'm
I
still
love it,
talking.
but I love it. It's so interesting. I'm digging in. I'm like, my head's going because I want to go off on that trail and I want to go off of here. I want to talk more about the garden and the chickens and there's so much, which is beautiful. It's beautiful that you created a life that is intriguing to people. So this book now, these two books are on, like we said, they're on Amazon. They're available on Amazon, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And I'll have the links in the description for everyone so you can follow Kira. Now, the best place for them to follow you is on Etsy.
Yeah, I mean, if you're like a fabric person too, a textile person, a crafty person, a creative person, if you love Etsy, come on over to Dot Oddity. You can buy the books there too. I can sign the books there. You can also find me. You found me on Instagram. I do Instagram videos about fabric quite a bit, how to clean fabric, which consequently, I also had to develop a product along the way that you'll be so
Mm.
impressed since you love fabric, but it removes odors from textiles. This is something I had to come across. I had to learn because fabric comes to me smelling like all sorts of things. And there is a
And
very
wait,
sensitive
it removes smells from pure fabric with no synthetic in it.
removes from any fabric. The only thing I do
Mhm.
not use it on is fur or leather or something that requires a specialty service to clean it. But
Mhm.
you can take
So
a load. Silk, absolutely. Silk, wool, cotton,
cashmere.
lens, cashmere, all of it. Anything that you can put to the dry cleaner, you can clean with this
Mhm.
product, and the items go into the dryer dry. It works by steaming. Okay, the dirt steams out the odors. Now, the product I created does not clean an item. It just removes the offensive odors. It removes cigarettes. It removes mildew. It removes all odors because at the end of the
Wow.
day, an odor is caused by a germ. Okay, the product is 100% natural. There's no dyes in it. There's no perfumes in it. It is 100% natural. It's a wet product. It kind of mimics the idea of the Dry-L dry cleaner sheet, except this removes
Mhm.
odors, where Dry-L does not. And there are certain natural oils that are odor killing, have odor killing properties by nature. One of them is lemon.
Mhm.
I have tea tree, I have
Mhm.
peppermint, and I have lavender. And they mix with other natural products that also kill the germs that cause odors, and so creates this
Mm.
steam that kills the odor, but then it goes away. Smells like nothing.
That's interesting because I grow lemon, I grow lavender, and I grow peppermint. I wonder if I could.
Thing.
Huh. I'm not going to try it though. I'll try yours. I'm not. I'm not going to throw those in the dryer.
So those can
Well,
be picked up in my shop as well. So just saying, it's called the
okay.
Grammy Whammy.
And they're available now.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah, it's
available now.
called the Grammy Whammy. You can get them in my shop.
The
Yep.
Grammy
They're
Whammy.
available.
I'm in your shop now. The Grammy Whammy. Grammy Whammy. Okay, I'll look for it on the website.
Yeah.
That's
It should be featured on the front page. When you first open my shop, it should pop up under some of the featured items. So
okay.
yeah, it's pivot,
Ex-
pivot, pivot, pivot,
Yeah,
and grow.
pivot. Remember that, people. Thank you so much for your time on this show. It's been s- enlightening, if anything, and it's given me the desire to follow you even more because what a life you've created. What a life you've created. I think this reality show needs to happen. Thank you again for your time, your energy, and your revelation on a lot of things. For the people who are listening, of discovering their journey and discovering what it takes to. It's not easy, but it's well worth it. I mean, look at this woman shine. For my followers, thank you so much for following us today and watching us. And for the guests, thank you for being here. Just remember that you can follow me on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, and then for your listening pleasures on Spotify and Apple. Remember to like it, share it, and hit the notifications so you'll always get updated on the shows. Kira, is there anything you'd like to share with people before we get off of here?
I personally want to thank you for your time. I love that I stumbled upon you. I think it is even a bigger bonus that you know fabric because nobody knows fabric anymore. So this is great. It's perfect. It's been a great conversation. And to your listeners out there, number one, never too old, ever. And number two, no does not mean never.
I love that. Yes. Thank you. All right, folks. We'll see you on the next show. Take care. Thanks for watching.